The lotion bottle hit the floor with a thud, but it wasn't because I dropped it. She yanked away as if my touch scalded her skin. My fingers lingered in the air, curled around nothing, frozen in place as I watched the bottle spin to a stop on the hardwood. "Don't touch me," she said, her voice hollow and cold. "You disgust me." That moment made it clear this wasn't about sore muscles or stress relief. It was deeper, about whatever remained of us. I wanted to respond with strength, wit, something biting. But instead, my voice faltered. The words came out soft, almost defeated. "Then this marriage is over," I said. "Pack your things fast." Her reaction surprised me. Marjorie always had an answer, a plan, a way to control any situation. Yet now her lips parted slightly and silence filled the room. Not just quiet, but a heavy, suffocating stillness. I stepped back, putting distance between us, not dramatically, just enough to remind myself that I had boundaries, a spine, dignity. And then it started. My phone buzzed incessantly. 7 times, 7 people. What I didn't know yet, what I couldn't process standing there trembling, was that 20 minutes earlier, someone had sent me evidence. Photos, screenshots, videos, all capturing her, Diego, their training session from 2 nights ago. The world knew before I did. She didn't speak or move. Instead, her eyes darted toward her phone lying face down on the couch cushion. Panic flickered across her features, subtle but unmistakable. This wasn't mere tension, it was fear. Fear that I'd noticed. Fear that I wasn't behaving as expected, apologizing, retreating, making excuses for her. For the first time in years, she didn't know how to handle me. Slowly, she stood up. I turned away, not to leave, but to retrieve my laptop. My hands shook from adrenaline, but my mind raced faster than ever. Earlier, her phone had buzzed, and I caught a glimpse of a name, Bryce. Not a friend, not a coworker, just someone whose messages hinted at secrets. 3 weeks ago, when she left her phone on the counter, one message read, "Last night was worth the risk." She dismissed him as harmless, a talkative gym acquaintance. I believed her. We even laughed about it together. But doubt lingered. So I grabbed the old family iPad we rarely used. Synced to her account, it revealed everything within seconds. Deleted texts, photos, voice messages, nothing explicit, but all too intimate. Emotional exchanges, shared confidences, flirtations masked as friendship. Each discovery chipped away at the illusion of trust until only shards remained. The intimacy I once shared with her had been absent for months, perhaps years. But this wasn't just about him, it was about me. She wrote things like, "I feel trapped, and he's soft. He'd never leave. That's why I don't respect him." Each sentence cut deeper than the last. Then one message stopped me cold. "If I can get him to leave on his own, I get everything in the split. Just a few more days." My hands trembled as I nearly dropped the iPad. This wasn't merely infidelity. It was a calculated plan to strip me of everything while walking away unscathed. What she didn't know was that I'd already opened the safe and some crucial pieces were missing. Sleep eluded me that night. I didn't even attempt to lie down. Instead, I sat in the garage, the iPad glowing in my lap. Betrayal washing over me like an oppressive second skin. The more I scrolled, the clearer it became. This wasn't an emotional affair or a fleeting mistake. Marjorie was orchestrating something far darker. She wasn't just drifting away from me. She was preparing to erase me completely, quietly, cruelly, confident that I'd never fight back. By 2 a.m., I stumbled upon something new. A folder of audio notes, recordings she'd made on her phone and accidentally synced. They weren't meant for anyone else, just private voice memos to herself. Curiosity got the better of me, and I pressed play on one. Her voice was calm, almost smug. I swear, if I have to fake one more dinner conversation with Everett, I'll scream. He thinks tonight I was sore from yoga. Diego left bruises, but not from anything innocent. My hand shook as I paused the recording. There was no room for denial now. She said my name like it left a bitter taste. The worst part? She was right. I had been that oblivious, that passive, that easy to deceive. She banked on it. I'd built our marriage on the belief that patience, kindness, and steadiness would earn me love. Instead, it earned me a seat at the table of fools. But this wasn't just betrayal, it was mockery. I played another file. This one was shorter. He folded the towels again. Perfect corners, like it matters. I could cheat in his face, and he'd still ask if I wanted tea. I turned off the screen. My heart pounded, not from sadness, but from humiliation, from a buried rage I hadn't known existed. She'd taken my loyalty and twisted it into a cruel joke. I stayed in the garage until sunrise. When I finally walked back inside, she was awake, sipping coffee as though nothing had happened. Her bags weren't packed, of course not. She never thought I'd follow through. But I already had a plan. The first step was making her believe she still held all the cards. She buttered toast like it was any other morning, humming softly. I watched her pour coffee with those steady hands, the same ones that used to tremble when we first dated. Back then, she'd tell me she was nervous around me. Now, guilt couldn't even make her flinch. That kind of composure takes either practice or a total absence of shame. The engagement ring, not the one I originally gave her, but the replacement I had secretly switched last month after noticing hers was missing more frequently. She claimed it was removed during gym sessions or cooking to avoid scratches. The truth, however, was that it no longer fit the image she was projecting elsewhere. So, while she slept, I swapped it for an identical cubic zirconia. She never noticed the switch. The real ring now rested with me, accompanied by an appraisal receipt and insurance photos. Assets worth enough to settle half the mortgage if needed. I stood in our bedroom, staring at the dresser. Her side of the room felt like a relic of someone who no longer existed. Perfumes I once gifted, clothes I folded, presents I wrapped, they all seemed foreign now. And then her phone buzzed. She'd forgotten it. My heart froze. I told myself I wouldn't invade her privacy, but when it lit up again, curiosity overwhelmed me. The message read, "See you in room 212. Doors unlocked." It wasn't supposed to be seen by me, nor did she anticipate my drive to that motel. Yet there I was, gripping the steering wheel, letting instinct guide me. The words burned into my mind as though etched in fire. Room 212, doors unlocked. There was no subtlety, no fear of discovery. Confidence oozed from every letter. That realization cut deeper than anything else. The motel, just 15 minutes away, had always seemed like a place for fleeting encounters, truckers or clandestine lovers. Now it represented betrayal. Marjorie, the woman who once wept over surprise cupcakes from her favorite bakery, was unrecognizable. The messages revealed another side entirely. She cried now for reasons unrelated to affection. Parking out of sight, I observed from behind a delivery van. 2 cars sat in the lot, hers and a black Lexus with tinted windows. My stomach churned. No plan formed in my head. I couldn't leave, yet entering felt impossible. What if I drove off without knowing what transpired behind that door? I walked in anyway. No receptionist, no cameras, no moral compass guiding me. Room 212 lay at the end of the second-floor hallway. The air reeked of bleach and neglect, as though attempting to erase stains that refused to disappear. Standing outside, I heard faint laughter, followed by murmurs. Then came her voice, giggly, flirtatious, alive, a tone I hadn't heard in years. I didn't knock or storm in. Instead, I slid an envelope under the door. Inside was a printed screenshot of her text. "He's too weak to do anything." With that, I descended the stairs, my heart pounding, hands trembling. I didn't need to confront her face to face. She needed to know I saw everything. As I drove away, my phone buzzed. Her name caught in my throat, but I didn't say it. Let her stew in the silence for once. She returned home precisely 3 hours later, her hair tousled by the wind, cheeks glowing pink, and a smile that seemed foreign on her lips, soft, youthful, satisfied. She didn't notice me at first, sitting there in the dim light of the living room. Her bag thudded to the floor as if she owned the place. Sneakers kicked off carelessly, and she reached instinctively for her phone. That's when I saw the flicker of unease cross her face. Her brows knitted together, her head tilted slightly. She stared at the screen like it had turned against her. Then her gaze snapped up, locking onto mine. "What did you do?" she demanded sharply, skipping any pretense of civility. I didn't flinch. "Nothing," I replied evenly, "just returning the favor." She glanced around the room as though the walls might betray her secrets. "What does that mean?" "You'll figure it out," I said coolly. "You're supposed to be smarter than me, aren't you?" Already moving toward the bedroom, she began yanking open drawers with reckless urgency. The first 2 were undisturbed, their contents neatly arranged just as she'd left them. But the third, the one where she stashed all her private belongings, was empty. Not a scrap of paper, not even a stray receipt remained. Only hollow space greeted her frantic hands. "You touched my things," she hissed, accusation dripping from every word. "No," I corrected calmly. "I moved mine. Yours are still here, along with your choices." Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She was calculating now, trying to piece together what I knew, what I'd uncovered, and what I planned to do next. For the first time in years, unpredictability belonged to me. "I'm not playing this game, Everett," she spat. "You're overreacting, as usual." I gestured toward the hallway. "Go ahead. Room 212, right?" "Maybe he can help you pack." That was when panic gripped her fully. She froze mid-step, unsure whether to deny or beg. Her face paled, her lips parted, and for the first time since I'd discovered the truth, I saw fear flicker in her eyes. "Let's talk," she said, stepping closer. "No," I cut her off firmly. "You talked to him. I listened long enough." Reaching for the envelope I'd placed on the coffee table, I slid it toward her. Inside was a USB drive containing everything, every message, every confession, every lie meticulously documented. Copies existed elsewhere, just in case clarity ever eluded me again about what respect wasn't supposed to look like. She didn't touch it. Instead, she stood trembling, the weight of the silence between us finally heavier than her excuses. And then, finally, I exhaled, a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding for so long. She didn't follow me when I walked out that night. No screaming, no tears, not even a whisper of apology. Just silence. The kind of silence that signaled nothing more needed to be said. I took only what mattered. My laptop, the ring, the USB, and a duffel bag filled with essentials. Everything else, the life she thought she could control, I left behind. Let her sit amidst the ruins she'd built. The motel room offered little comfort, but it told me everything I needed to know. Watching her read the text I'd sent earlier confirmed it. That was the turning point. Revenge wasn't what I sought, freedom was. And for the first time in years, I felt its embrace. For a few days, I stayed with my brother.
He asked only for the bare minimum, understanding without prying. Funny how sometimes the quiet ones understand best. The scent of Chinese takeout filled the air as we laughed at the absurdity of a low-budget sci-fi movie. For the first time in years, I felt free from the constant tension that had gripped my life. The divorce proceedings were underway, and an ironic twist of fate had turned the tables. A forgotten prenuptial agreement she'd signed came back to haunt her. When she first tried to challenge it, I remained calm and methodical, handing over incriminating messages and audio recordings to my lawyer. No theatrics, just undeniable proof of her manipulations in her own voice. Realizing she had no upper hand left, she retreated into silence.
Each morning now begins with a quiet walk around the block, coffee in hand, no one demanding to know my whereabouts. It's a modest ritual, but it's become my sanctuary. Yesterday brought an unexpected moment of connection. At the dog park, a stranger complimented my shoes, sparking a 20-minute conversation about nothing in particular. For once, I didn't feel like a ghost or someone burdened by shame. There was something liberating about being seen without expectation or judgment. It's peculiar how peace finds its way into your life when you stop seeking validation from those who never truly cared. Leaving wasn't a loss, it was liberation. Walking away from someone who never genuinely loved me didn't leave me empty. It opened doors I didn't know were closed. What part of this journey resonates with you? Share your thoughts below.